Today, I just wanted to take a little bit of more time to go over something that just happened on Monday. Cop15 in Montreal, Canada, and a bunch of other countries signed a deal on biodiversity. There's so many more smarter people out there, experts and everything, that could talk about it in terms of the policy and planning, but I'm more interested in how it's going to impact horticulture. Um, some of you may know that's my specialty. That's what I do. I enjoy it, but I always wanted to reimagine a conventional landscaping business in the context of climate. Now, for the first time, we have a deal that, it's written in the language of capitalism. It's, percentages of this and how much money for that. So it's really missing the commitment to stewardship just by the language of it. But leaving that aside, what it's going to do as it comes into the economy for horticulture, that's more what I want to talk about. So frontline climate work is producing habitat and more biodiversity. So that $200 billion that's going worldwide every year, there will be money spent in Canada, there will be money spent in Ontario, there will be money spent in Toronto. And if that money is spent in Toronto, then it's going to be plants that are grown by somebody and planted and put in the ground by somebody. So one other thing about this deal was the whole 30 by 30, that's 30% set aside for nature by 2030. That's less than 10 years. So all of this money, all of this enthusiasm, it's actually going to happen in the 5 to 10 year time horizon, which gets into the budget considerations of business. Horticulture is a very long term project. I mean, you don't grow a 10-year tree in year one, right? Part two, the 10-year time horizon means that we're going to have these plants. Somebody's going to have to grow these plants, and somebody's going to have to plant these plants. So we have already well-known shortage in skilled trades, and specifically horticulture. And in part because people are doing, internet office jobs, not interested necessarily, but I think it's actually a problem of the framing. So when you think of all those disaffected people who want to do something about climate, they might not consider landscape as their first choice. But if you think of frontline climate work, planting trees would be part of it. So we have a problem of saying, of explaining our role in this, and that's going to mean that we have to pivot and explain our role in this properly. And of course, we're going to need people, and we're going to need people growing, and we're going to need people planting. We're going to need people doing the logistics. We are going to materials. We're going to need people growing seed. We're going to need to be harvesting seed, processing seed. We're going to need to be growing. So at the end of the day, it's a good day. It is a good day. My purpose here is to get ready, to be ready for when they turn the faucet on, that we can execute. that plan, we're gonna need a lot of people. We're gonna need capital. We're going to need to collaborate with the growers. We are going to need to collaborate with the horticultural professionals, the landscape professionals, landscape architects. It's going to take a concerted effort, and it's going to take a strategic effort. Back again, had to do a part 3, Cop15. The deal, $200 billion per year, 30% by 2030. If we're going to execute this work, we are going to need to participate with a whole bunch of different parts of the horticultural system and navigate the urban environment with all the other things that happen here. Now, let's just take one idea. If we were to just look at reducing the temperature in the city by 1 degree, just one degree, I would start with the vertical surfaces. I would make those surfaces rougher. I would make those surfaces suitable for plants. And the reason I would do that is because they act like baffles. They would act like coolant. As the air streams through, it would be cleaning and producing oxygen and slowing the wind down and producing better results in our mental health. But it would also be cooling because it would be shading immediately where we need it, on the balconies of where people live. So we would be talking about cooling where we need it. We would be talking about cooling overall. And we would be talking about a place where there are no cars, no compaction. There's really no disturbance at all on the vertical surface in terms of human intervention. So it's an ideal place for plants. And there are a lot of plants that grow in that precarious situation. And if you know me, then you know that I'm going to say buildings are cliffs. And we're going to be talking about the escarpment. We're going to be talking about cedars. And we're going to be talking about plants that live for 1,000 years in the crevices and cracks. So that's the palette, the hardscape plants. That's the palette of plants that gets this city to be 1 degree cooler. And I have been working on making those plants more available in the trades, to the professionals, and to try to talk to the adjacent professions, the architects, to tell them in 2022 our buildings need to breathe, our buildings need to sequester carbon. Part 4, still going with the rambling and the ranting. That's not basically saying that the buildings aren't doing enough. Just protecting the people inside from the weather. And that's really not enough. In 2022, Cop15, $200 billion, 30 for 30. We're talking about making those buildings breathe and produce wellness. And be habitat. A building should be providing habitat for all manner of birds and wonderful bees and etc. So I'm gonna just that was just one idea, but there's lots. But my point being is that I think that everybody who thinks about this stuff and who's in my area of the economy and the horticulture, I think that if you're thinking about this at all, you're thinking about, well, this is a tremendous opportunity to finally do the work and that this might be as close to a need as opposed to a want that we're going to have in our careers. I think that the Cop15 announcement is essentially putting into words, it's a need. We have to do this, and we're willing to pay for it. So that to me is exciting. I think that there's nothing that beats just leaving fossil fuels in the ground, but our leaders have failed to even mention that. But I don't work in the fossil fuel business, and I don't work in the keeping it in the ground business. I work in the plant business. I'm very excited about the Cop15 on our future prospects to be able to do the work that we want to do and to make a living doing it, a decent living. So that's it. That's what I'm saying. Cop15, 200 billion, 30 for 30. And then horticulture executing on the plan and being ready. That's what we got to do now. Is we got to be ready. And I'm doing everything I can to get ready. And if we want to hear more about it, I could tell you a little bit.